Welcome to the Black News Network, your source for news from a Black perspective. We're here to cut through the noise and bring you the unfiltered truth. No sugarcoating, no spin, just raw, honest reporting.
Good evening, brothers and sisters. This is Brother War Smith with the War Report. Today, I had some interesting thoughts about the gangs of New York. And when I start thinking about gangs, I'm thinking about what's actually happening right now. And the Bible says that everything has a season. And when I look at what it says as season, I'm thinking about that could apply to plants, that could apply to trees, that could apply to ducks. It could apply to anything. I mean, but what I'm picturing it as, how does it apply to human beings? So I'm going to have to break down the different cultures that we have in this country, and talk about some of the things that go along in their cultures. Now, if you haven't seen this movie called The Gangs of New York, you should see it, because what it does is it tells you about how the Irish, the Scottish, all the immigrants came to America, and how they always fought the Chinese, which the Chinese had their cliques and gangs and sets, and so did the Irish, and have their cliques, gangs, and sets. And the same thing with the Scottish, they had theirs. And the worst thing that could happen in any society is when these different elements of these different people collide. Now, Black people were in the mix too, but we were being quiet during that particular era when that movie was aired about the gangs of New York. So we really had not started getting our communities up to that level. I mean, the white folks were mad at every damn body. These Irish and Scottish, they were fighting the Chinese, the blacks, whomever, the Mexicans, whomever wasn't white, they had a problem with. And that's what one of the biggest problems of America is. Even though we hear the rumor that America was formed for white people, we know that that's a damn lie. We know that because Black people built this damn country. We put more into the economic base of this country than any other culture. If it wasn't for the cotton, the soybeans, and the sugar plantations, America would be nobody. And who worked those plantations? Black people. We made them the billions of dollars for them. But today, my focus is what has happened at our border, which has perpetuated what's actually happening in our cities, because our cities now have become war zones, and it's almost like these gangs are ganging up and attacking other cultures and the police. And it's been etching up every single month, is more and more problems with our bigger cities like Chicago and New York, which are the two I want to focus on today and talk about the gang affiliations in these cities. Excuse me. But I'm going to walk it from the border all the way up to New York and to Chicago. Over the last 3 or 4 years, maybe longer, we've seen the surge of migrants approaching the southern border. They're coming through Mexico by the thousands, and that is unfreaking believable. Thousands and thousands and thousands of people are showing up at the American border coming from the south. So have you ever sit back and asked the question, how can that many damn people walk through Mexico and get up to the border just like that? Is there nobody watching the store? I mean, Mexico got a straight damn Audubon highway for the migrants from Venezuela to shoot right through there and end up at the American border where the brakes are put on their ass and they can't go no farther unless they seek an asylum and get admitted into the United States. How can they keep doing that? Thousands and thousands of people. Just so you know, in 2023, over 250,000 migrants were processed by the Border Patrol. That's a hell of a lot of folks. That's more than in some cities here in America. That's a lot of people, a lot of immigrants coming to the border. But the biggest question I had every time I see all those people sitting at the border, I'm saying, where the hell did they come from? And then they had the audacity to bring a shipment of Haitians to the border to cross too, and they treated them like shit. You saw the man on a horse with a whip. You know, we needed General Honoré down there for that shit because he would have taken care of that. But the white man was on the horse with a whip, and the black Haitians were the victims. I hope they fired that asshole because that was not the way it should be. So, but for the most part, you see the blacks mixed up in the Hispanic culture coming across the border, and 99% of those blacks coming across the border and mixed in with the Mexicans speak Spanish. They are of Spanish descent. So that takes us all the way back to all these black people being up and down the peninsula from the tip of Venezuela all the way up to Brazil and Mexico and then to the US. They're coming. And there's black people scattered all the way through there. There are some societies that are 100% black in Mexico. And everywhere that there is a black culture existing in a predominantly other than black location, the black people are harassed and deprived of what they are rightfully owed. Even here in America, it's the same damn thing. So all these migrants showing up at the border, the Border Patrol processing these migrants into America, which takes a few hours because they're trying to run background checks on them. They're trying to verify names. They're trying to verify addresses. They're trying to verify relatives that are in the United States. So these processes take time and it take manpower. So once you get all this surge of people at the border, and based on our immigration policies, Marquez, who's been up for impeachment over the last month or two, there's so many different things happening when it comes to these migrants. It ain't funny. But once they get across the border, once they get accepted into the United States, they get a court date so they can go and plead their case to a U.S. judge. And if you don't know, Donald Trump appointed over 200 judges across the country while he was president. Nobody heard about that shit, but you knew about the Supreme Court judges. He stacked the deck on everything. So he has a way of making shit happen without making shit happen. I ain't never seen it in my life. Somebody that can be so damn low down, can have 91 counts, can be charged with over $400 million in fines, be a convicted rapist, grabbing people by the pussy. This is the thing. These are the things that man did. And you still have American people kissing the ground he walk on. He came out with this old ugly ass gold sneaker, and he's selling those sneakers for $399. And according to him, they sold out. You know, everything about Trump is over the top. It's the greatest there ever was. It has never been that great before. You ever notice how he say that? Everything he does is greater than anything ever been done in the world before. But yet he stands up there and criticizes veterans, the handicapped people. He has something to say about women who are against him. And he's got names for those women that he used that's unacceptable. That's a presidential candidate. And for you people out there that think because you're a Trump supporter and you believe in Donald Trump going to bring a reckoning to this country, you're opening up Pandora's box, because there's going to be a whole lot of going on here in America with Donald Trump as president. And many people are going to have a serious problem accepting what Donald Trump is trying to serve. Many people will. But do you see how he's been out of the seat? And you go on Fox News or some of these other news channels, and they're going to say, well, President Trump said. These assholes, these reporters get on TV and lie and lie and lie about the situation surrounding this man, and they know damn well it's a damn lie. Look at how they're talking about the insurrection on Fox News. It was not an insurrection. They went up there in peace. These people broke windows, raided into Nancy Pelosi's office, and tore up shit. And you call that just a walk in the park? Officers died because of that. We lost lives. Officers lost lives. And in the entire bunch, there was one black man. I don't know what happened to him. I know he was probably one of the first one to get put in jail as a result of the insurrection, which is, it states in the Constitution in the 14th Amendment, I believe, I think it's the 14th Amendment, that anybody participating in an insurrection cannot be part of America's politics or political offices, especially the president. And right now we're waiting on a verdict from the Supreme Court about Donald Trump and what's going to happen with the Supreme Court judgment for him in Colorado. That is something that we have to contend with. And I can imagine what he'll do when he becomes president, and if he becomes president, with the border situation. He said Mexico, we're going to build that damn border, and Mexico ain't up the dime on that damn border. And we act like that shit didn't happen. Other promises he made, we act like that didn't happen. But that border wall can't stop the Mexicans from crossing, because they will go under that wall, they will go over that wall, and they will go through that wall. They got doors cutting them damn steel rails now. And you're not going to see them all the time, because they move from place to place to place and cut through that wall, or dig through that wall, or climb over that wall. They do so much shit. So you can almost say that you can forget about stopping the migrants from crossing over the border. And the only thing that cracking down on the migrants did was had them piling up at the border. Now, back to what I was saying earlier, how do you think 1,000 or more, 3,000 migrants can get to the United States border, crossing through all these different countries? You got to think that this whole issue, this border crisis on that side of the border, is bigger than we assume, because there's somebody pushing those people across the border. There's somebody pushing those people to the border. Who would that be? I would think it would probably be the cartels. Why would they not send busloads of people 10 miles from the border and put them off the bus and say, walk the last 10 miles? Because there's no damn way that many people can walk through all these damn countries and get to the American border without assistance. They got to be getting assistance somewhere. But see, America's so damn smart, we ignore the obvious. Now, it's obviously impossible for that many people, men, women, and children, and babies, and pregnant women too, walking from Venezuela and Brazil all the way up to the border. How the hell that happened? They're not doing it. They are not doing it. Somebody giving them as much assistance as they need to get to the border. So, because they have that type of backing to get to the border, what is the expectation of them once they get there? The expectation is that they're going to lie, cheat, and steal and say whatever they have to say to get accepted into the United States. And once they get accepted through giving a court date, say, all right, you're going to meet for court in the year 2029 at 10 o'clock in New York. Okay, I'll take that. That's what the migrant going to say. But once that migrant's turned loose on the other side of the border, in the U.S., that is, and he has an opportunity to disappear, he's going to disappear. He got 1,000,001 places to go across this country because Mexicans support Mexicans. And you might as well believe it, because there's a racket of Mexicans with the cartels here in America that exist underground, and we don't know what they're doing. We don't want to know what they're doing. American politicians don't want to admit that they know what they're doing, but they don't want to be the first one to say it on national television because they are afraid of their office. They're afraid to do anything. And I'm sure Mayorkas done had all kind of threats to his life, the immigration secretary. It is so sad that we ignore the truth when it's slapping the shit out of us. We ignore the truth. And that is our political standard and standing in this country when it comes to immigration. We turn our backs to what's happening at the border and thinking it's going to fix itself. Ain't that some bullshit? You ever seen it? It is. There is no way that the problem at the border is going to fix itself. There's so much going on down there that we will live much better if we don't recognize what's happening there. And that's what's happening. Look at what happened in Nancy Pelosi's house. Dude hit the husband in the head with a hammer, and he's walking the street. You know, these migrants made their way into the United States through whatever way they did, and they disappeared. Now, when they disappear, they have to go somewhere. So there's somebody there to receive them. And who do you think that is? It ain't mom and pop store saying we're going to take in the migrants. It ain't the Gonzalez family saying we're going to house 3 of them until they can get their feet on the ground. There's only one family for migrants, Mexican migrants in America. And that is the American gang. So gang strength 5 years ago were roughly 25, 30%. You know, they were small. Now, with all these migrants coming over, they're bringing these gang members in like 40 going east. The gang members are now growing to a point where it's over the top. So now they're going to take over the streets. And when they get through taking over the streets, they're going to take over the prisons, because right now they're committing crimes then where they don't give a damn if they get arrested or not. They're robbing people, they're stealing, they're taking cars, snatching purses. They're doing all the things that criminals do and don't give a damn about being arrested. The last ones I saw to get arrested was pointing the finger at the cameras and giving them the middle finger. And after they were arrested, and somehow they had their hands in front of them, so they were able to do that. And then the other situation that these migrants were doing, there was 5 or 6 of them at the trolley thing where they get on the subway. So the police tried to arrest one, and all the rest of them attacked the police. That's what happened. We, as Black Americans, we're in a position right now where we can be as strong as we want it to be. However, we have to do one thing, and that is work together. And that seems to be the damn nail, the dog sitting on the nail on the porch, because he don't want to get off that nail. We don't want to get off that nail. We would rather sit on the nail and be in pain rather than get off the nail and do something. That's where we are right now. We're sitting on a nail, and we won't get off that damn nail. Black people right now got more power than anybody in this country. But the methods and designs that they have instilled in us are still working today, because we refuse to become brothers and sisters in arms. We can do this. You know, John Lewis started it back when they were crossing the Edmund Pettus Bridge, and they did not fan out so well. But have you noticed that there is no one else making lunges to our betterment of life since then? Nobody else. Because everybody that did got killed. They got unalived. You know, before Martin Luther King was assassinated, he said he has a feeling that he's leading his people into a burning house. And basically, if you're getting led into a burning house, you're going to perish. For all you people that believe the rhetoric that he taught you, I highly recommend that you regroup and think about what you actually did. You turned the other cheek. You allowed them to sodomize and beat and kill and separate and use your children as bait for alligators. I mean, you couldn't stop it. You couldn't stop none of it because you were slaves. But now we're not slaves. And they're getting ready to do the same thing again, but they're doing it differently. They're using their brains now instead of their bra. They're catching you on the slightest little crime, and then they're throwing you in jail, and your criminal career perpetuates, because when you get thrown in jail the first time, you cannot afford to pay your fine. So you get out on bail for some kind of way. Somebody hawked their house or something to put you out on bail. Now that you're out on bail, you're not going back to court. So when you miss that court date, a warrant is issued for your ass. Yeah, you're down now, man. You screwed. I mean, because when they issue that warrant for your arrest, ain't nothing you can say or do to stop your ass from being booked. You're going to get booked. when they catch you. You are going to jail. So all I'm saying is, Black people, this is the best time in the history of America that we have an opportunity to crown ourselves as dominant people, but only and only if we work together. And I see hundreds of Black organizations and Black churches all trying to get to heaven on the same dime, but none of these organizations are willing to pull together to make one dynamic force. If we could get two fraternities to work together, two, just two, and do something other than every year they do the same old bullshit. They give out a little scholarship here. Uh, they give some little, they represent the little boys club where they do mentoring. You know, they push all this stuff up like they're doing so damn much, but they ain't really doing shit. You know, the little money they have in these fraternal accounts, they give it away like they rich, and they're not. So why is it that you got $10,000 in the bank and you giving away $6,000 in scholarships and another $1,000 in this particular thing? You're donating it to other folks. Why are you spending $7,000 out of your $10,000? You really ain't got no damn money. My recommendation is for all you fraternities out there, stop giving away your damn money. Sit down for at least 3 years and build your finances. Get your finances in order, and then you can go where you want to go with that organization. But right now, every year you're going through the same shit. Somebody must have told you that you can't have no money in your nonprofit at the end of the year, and they told you a damn lie. You can have $99,000 in your damn account as a nonprofit at the end of the year. Don't break that 100. Your ass is out. Don't break that 100, but you can have a lot of money in there. But there are many other organizations never see $20,000 because they're so busy trying to look important and impress somebody that they got shit, and they go out and do these damn donations, and they probably ain't got gas to get back home. But they're giving away $1,000 scholarship here because one person sent in a damn essay, and that one person won. And that one person is the daughter or son of somebody in the organization. This is how hypocritical we are. We don't do it right. And, I'm talking about a few different things, but all these things relate to where I'm going with this problem at the border. I'm talking about Black people because it is our time where we should be doing a lot more than we are doing to come together and be somebody and be a phenomenal force. Because what we fail to realize is that we're called colored people, we're called Negroes, we're called Black people, we're called African American. Now, in your mind, I need you to tell me which one of those names that you have been called is a nationality. You can talk about the Chinese, they got a nationality. Even you can talk about the people at the border, they got nationalities. The Haitians got Haiti. The Mexicans got Mexico. The Venezuelans got Venezuela. What do you have as a Black person in America? Not a damn thing. You have no status in the world, in this country, nor do you have a status in the world's eye because you have no nationality. And without a nationality, you are given privileges. You're not given rights in America. You only have privileges. And if you only have privileges, just like you giving your child a privilege, all right, you've been good this week, your privilege this week is I'm going to let you go to the movies. This is what they do to us. We've only got privileges. You think I'm lying? Do some research on it and you'll find out. Because until we get status as a nationality, you will always be mistreated in this country. Always. And you will always be ignored. So I'm saying this because you let the migrants have a better status than you. You let the Ukrainians have a better status than you. You let the Chinese have a better status than you. You let all these people have a better status than the African American, black man, colored man, Negro, Nij. Black people come across the border too, though, and they fall right in there. But every other culture that's coming across that border that's black, they're being told, don't get mixed up with the black folks because they're going down the wrong road. And if you get mixed up with them, you're going down that road too. So don't get mixed up with them. So black people coming from Africa, Africans, black people coming from Mexico, they're all being told, don't mess with us. Why? Because we have no nationality. And I always tell a story about Michael Brown, who died in Ferguson, Missouri. And the city paid the parents millions of dollars, and they took those millions of dollars and filed a world case with the world court for their son, Michael Brown. And the world court accepted the case. So with the case, they looked at it and they did what they do with cases. And they came back to the Brown family and said, we cannot represent Brown, your son, in for this case. And they said, why? Because he has no nationality. That's from an international world court saying that the only reason they could not represent that boy that got killed like that is because he had no nationality. That is why we need to wake up, people. We need to wake up because these little privileges that they're giving us ain't about shit, and they can take them away when they get ready. You got to have rights. And the only way you're going to get rights is through taking the oath of amnesty, which is the exact same thing these damn immigrants do. And when they take the oath of amnesty, they are bigger citizen than you are. They are true citizens. You're just a citizen. Gregory Abbott took the liberty to sneakily send buses to Democratic ran cities. And he sent a hell of a lot of border crossers to these major metropolitan cities. And these guys went there with open arms. They were glad to get there. They were glad to get on that bus and go to New York. Glad to get on that bus and go to Chicago. He sent a whole lot of people to 3 places. And all 3 of these places has Democratic mayors. One with a Democratic governor. He sent them to New York. He sent more than 42,000 migrants on buses to New York City. So now New York City got to house these people somewhere. So what is the best way to house an influx of people like that? Put them in prison, jail them, because nobody cares after they go to jail. They can get mistreated all day long in there and nobody gives a damn. So many of those migrants are already in jail. Many of them are already in jail. A good percentage, I don't know how many, but a lot. Many of those migrants are unaccounted for. And they were supposed to report to people like a probation officer, once they're a migration officer, once they got to New York. They ain't seen them. Did you really expect to see them? They going on their damn way. That is why I was talking about gangs that exist in these major cities. So New York gangs are the Vatos Locos. That's one of the gangs. But the Vatos Locos are smaller than the Los Bogos and the Los Trevino's. These three gangs are dominating New York. Now, right now, they may have 25, 30 people in each gang set. Now, I bet you they got over 100. And those people are migrants. Those migrants are happily joining those gangs. That's what's happening now. They're joining the gangs in these cities. If they went to Chicago, well, Mayor Eric Adams is the New York City mayor, and he's been pleading and begging for money from the federal government to help. But they said, hell with you, we ain't doing shit. Then you got Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson. This is one of the youngest mayors in the country, brother, doing his thing. Eric Adams and Brandon Johnson, both black. He's the mayor of Chicago. They have sent 26,000 migrants to Chicago. Same thing, they're joining all the gangs. They're joining the gangs. But like I said, Gregory Abbott bust over 250,000 migrants up there at taxpayers' expense. Spent a lot of money doing that. In Chicago, there are certain gangs that are out there doing what they do. They have the Latin Kings, which you probably heard about them. They're in the movies and everywhere else. The Serenos, the Norteños, and the most synonymous gang, the MS-13s. And one that I failed to mention was the 18th Street Gang. All these gangs are beefing up their power with these migrants. They're going straight to the gang because the gang got money. The gang got residents where them to live. They got everything they need. So the migrants are going to the gangs. Quick, fast, and in a hurry. All the gang member has to do is walk by the shelter. He can pick up 5, 10 members just like that. That's what's happening. But then America, in New York, the hotels are getting $200 a night to house migrants. And they kicking out veterans that were living in those hotels with a reasonable price so they can get a migrant in there and get that $200 a night from the federal government. That's how they helped in Chicago. These gangs have really put a damper in where America is trying to go. These gangs have caused us money in America. It has caused us a lot of jobs in America because people would much rather hire cheap labor than our labor. I was having a discussion earlier about Black people. And one of the things that I really want to stress is where we fit in. You got black people born before 1980. The black people born from before 1980 were the real black people that made ways in America, that made inventions in America, that made strides in education in America. Then you had the people born from the 1980s to the 1990s. Another generation of people. The 90s to 2000, another generation. These younger, the younger the generation is, the worse it becomes. In the 60s, we would not walk around in house shoes outside the house. That's why they call them house shoes. We would not walk around with sleeping bonnets on our head because that's what they are, sleeping bonnets used when you go to sleep at night. This is basically what we contend with when it comes to us gaining the respect we need. We cannot gain the respect we need doing certain things. And every single day we fall farther and farther behind of what's happening here in America. As if, hey man, I done made my little dollar. I'm good. I don't have nothing else to say to y'all. Y'all just go and do what you do. You know, you all these people are suffering right now. And one is striving, 99 suffering because they are not able to make ends meet without having a couple of jobs. Now they got a couple of jobs, so they out working hard. Both parents are working if they have two parents. They're out there working. And when they stop working, they go home and they don't find their children there because the children are in the streets with guns, killing each other. And it's only because today our values have changed. You know, a black man would never allow his wife to work 30 years ago now. This 30 years ago, don't get your panties in a bunch. It was 30 years ago. You know, they use they black people had there were different things happening then. The mother would stay home and cook dinner every single day. And the father would go out and work every single day, and then he'd bring the money home and give it to his wife, all the money, and then she'd give him back an allowance. You can take that and do what you do. And this was the trend, and black men were being successful in the family unit. And I think J. Edgar Hoover must have got a aha moment or something like that because he said, aha, black men are making too much money. Let's kick them out of the workforce, kick them out of their homes, separate them from their families. And that's what happened. Some kind of way, the government stepped in as the daddy, started giving the mother the money and pushing the black man to the side as if he has no importance. Talking to the woman, making her think that you don't need a man because you got Uncle Sam over here, baby, doing what she does, giving you money, doing what a man would do. I'm providing for you. Food stamps, Section 8s, tuition assistance, rent assistance, all these different things they have done to show the woman that the black man is insignificant in her life. What do you think? I mean, it is sad that this is where we are. And I talk about the border crisis a lot because the women, there are a lot of women here in America leaving America right now. Everywhere I've seen people flourishing in other countries has been women. They go into Belize, they go into Brazil, they go into Vietnam, they go into Taiwan, and they're going to Mexico, Mexico City, and they are living large. The same $100 that will get you a chicken and a pack of beans and a sack of bologna and a loaf of bread down there will pay for your groceries for the whole month. For the whole month. So they're stacking dough just by living in another country. And the other country is more receptive to them. They're not calling them niggas there. They're showing them respect like human beings, and they are flourishing in other countries. And then there are some that post on YouTube all the time. So the border crisis is not only coming north, it's going south too. People are leaving here. Now, in the 13th Amendment with 20 sections. Now, people probably say, well, the 13th Amendment don't have 20 sections. The organic 13th Amendment has 20 sections. Look it up. The 13th Amendment with 20 sections says that the federal government is responsible to give Black people land in any place they want it in the United States. It says that. But since that was the 13th Amendment with 20 sections is exactly like the Emancipation Proclamation. Both of those are the rules, but you're supposed to follow the rules, but you don't have to. So America chose to put out into the public's eye a different 13th Amendment with 4 sections. And that money and land that the government promised us, you don't find that there. But if you ask about it, it's still valid, and it could be sued. You could sue the federal government for it. They don't want you to know that there's a 13th Amendment that really gives you what you're supposed to have. But since nobody in our culture or community will stand up and stand out and make this happen for our culture, then it sits dormant in some book, in some Smithsonian Institute. Because the Smithsonian Institute had a whole lot to do with where we are now. Because, well, if it was left over to the first curator of the Smithsonian Institute, we'd be a powerful organization. Even the material we look at every day in America tells us that we are better people. We are the Jews. We're the original Hebrews, really. We are descendants of the Canaanites and Moabites. And we have fallen into Leviticus 25:10. Now, if you don't know what Leviticus 25:10 is, go look at the Liberty Bell in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. It has the inscription of the Leviticus 25:10. And in a nutshell, what Leviticus 25:10 is telling us is that in 50 years, which has been passed so long ago, that the owners of the land that took the land must give that land back to the original inhabitants. That's what it means. But, the Bible speaks in code. You have to decipher the code. And that inscription in the Liberty Bell says that we are supposed to be re-inherited what we were divested of. We're supposed to get it back. Because if you think they brought 6 million Black people from Africa, you're a damn fool. Ain't no damn way them little ships sitting in the Boston Harbor and Baltimore Harbor can hold more than 70 people or 80 people. And it takes 30 days to move a ship across the damn water with air power. So that's 30 days across, 30 days there waiting to get a load, 30 days back. So that's 90 days. That's a quarter year to get one ship over there and back with 70 or less slaves because they're throwing them overboard. They're jumping overboard. They rather die than come here. There were black people here already that were enslaved by the colonizers. What does the colonizer do when they first get here? They establish the judicial system. Why? Because the judicial system lays out the law on what you can't do. And the only thing they do that first because they don't want you doing what they do. If they come here and take the land, they don't want you to do it. So they create a law saying it is illegal to take land from the inhabitants. And if you violate that law, you go to prison. But they just did it. You're doing what you see them do, but you're going to jail for what you did, but they're not. This is what colonizers do when they first move into a land. So they created these laws and they got all these people and they started calling them people that didn't belong. So they made them slaves, shipped them down south and all over the country, building everything, the White House on down, the memorials, the Statue of Liberty, everything. Black people built damn near everything in this country. They had that's still, the older stuff, not the newer stuff. And they built it because they had the skill sets to do it. And I don't know if you realize over the last 10 years, they removed vocational schools from most school districts. They moved mechanics. You can't take mechanics. You can't take HVAC. You can't take plumbing. You can't take carpentry. You can't take welding. You can't take future farmers of America. You don't have any of that stuff anymore because America figured out that they were losing people to work in their factories. They would love it if we as black people would stay in our place and work the factories or work the fast food, the service industry, where only thing we're relegated to service. That's it. As long as you do that, ain't nobody gonna bother you. Ain't nobody gonna talk bad about you. But the moment you step out of those service industries and try to be something more, you're gonna have to put your rubber to the road and stick to a program and force your way into it because they will not let you in too deep. You can look around. If you're making $10,000 a month as a black person, a black man, that white man that does less than you making $15,000 a month. And I've witnessed it and it's real. So if whatever you're making, you should find out what your partner, your peers are making, because if you're the black one in the bunch, you're making less than all of them. You're probably making less than the secretary if she white. This is fact. And I'm sorry to say it, but that's the truth. We're going to have to do more because if we don't, we're going to get expelled from the US of A because this is a white country. Let them tell it. And they would love to see us go, but they know they can't see us go because they can't survive without us in this country. But every time you turn around, they're telling you to go back to Africa. And then you go out there and protest with this Black Lives Matter movement and they shut the hell up. They don't say nothing. Then you get this black organization with 1,000 members all dressed in black with AK-47s and M16 going up to Stone Mountain, Georgia, looking for the Ku Klux Klan. And they won't come out of the woodworks. They didn't see anything. It was 1,000 black people up there. They were ready to go to war. And no Klan members showed up whatsoever. It would have been a knockdown, drag-out fight. But that was a powerful statement. And anytime a brother takes control and does a powerful thing for our culture, you can expect them to be silenced and disappeared. You don't believe me? Medgar Evers, Martin, Malcolm, and probably 20 more that I can't name right now. Fannie Lou Hamer. You know, our people, Rosa Parks, just anybody that steps to the ground and make themselves prevalent or real and not a figment of somebody's imagination, they're going to shut it down. They're going to try. So you can prepare yourself for the fight. Prepare yourself for the fight, because the fight is coming your way, whether it be Mexicans trying to annihilate your black ass, whether it be white folks trying to annihilate your black ass. It's going to be somebody. Even Africans don't fool with us. They don't want to be around us because they don't want to be mistaken for a black person in America. They get that type of briefing when they come here, not only from where they left, but from where they are going. The white people tell them, well, we like y'all Africans. We'll work with you and promote you and give you money, but don't hang out with the black folks. We got to find our culture. We got to make sure this is our border. This is where we want to be. And wherever we want to be, we set up our borders and we defend it. We defend it. If America would stand ground and do what they say they're going to do, we'll be fine, but we cannot expect that to happen no time soon. It's been a long time going on this border crisis stuff. Gregory Abbott has done some things like shipping these people up north, and he thinks he's doing something, but in actuality, he's doing everybody a favor, because once they get to New York, that's it. You ain't gonna find them back no more. They're gone. They're gone. Even with a court date, they are gone. So we can call them now building the gangs of New York. And Chicago's out of hand. I mean, they're beating up police officers. Police try to arrest one of them, they all gonna jump that ass. I mean, they just killed 3 officers up north the other day. I don't know who it was or where it was, but they killed 3. And they jumped on one in Houston. It's happening all over the country. So get ready for the fight. This is definitely the Black News Network, BNN 247. I solicit you to join us again.
Thank you for watching the Black News Network, where we bring you the news from a black perspective, from challenging politically correct narratives to uncovering the unfiltered truth. We're dedicated to keeping you informed and empowered.